afternoon. I'm Joyce Johnston. I'm Director of Educational Outreach for ACE. And Brother Bob, I have to say, I was moved by your remarks about these ACERs. Joseph Conrad wrote that perhaps heroes are but ordinary people who for one period of time do something out of the ordinary. And you guys are my heroes. So thank you so much for the 2 years I've been thrilled to know you in ACE. And it'll be many more because you're going to be needing license renewal for the next 40 years. And you'll have to email me and ask how it's done. Each year, the graduating class is asked to select a classmate who embodies the 3 pillars of ACE. And they send in their nominations, and then the ACE leadership looks at the nominations and selects a graduation speaker. This year, the graduation speaker is Matt Kloser. Matt is a Hoosier, for there are so few of us in this class that we want to say that. Matt, I have to look, from Warsaw. I ought to know Warsaw because I'm on the diocesan school board, and that's where we meet, in Warsaw. Matt is a 2002 grad from Notre Dame in pre-professional studies and also in history. He has deferred his medical career to serve in ACE, and now he has agreed to defer it for another year to serve in the ACE leadership, and we thank you greatly, Matt. But, you know, this past week with Marlon Brando's death, there have been a lot of tributes to him, and they talk about the roles that defined Brando. His role in On the Waterfront, his role in The Godfather, his role in Streetcar Named Desire. Well, in ACE lore, there is a role that defines Matt. Matt will go down in history as the best imitation of Tom Doyle of anyone ever. I give you the 2004 graduation speaker of ACE 9, Matt Kloser.
Father Jenkins, Father Scully, honored guests, academic and pastoral leaders of ACE, friends, relatives, and especially my dear friends of ACE 9. Congratulations, and thank you for helping us celebrate this most joyous occasion. Now, in the past few weeks, I've received a little advice and input about my remarks for today, and some said, make it funny, make it serious, make it short, make it long, sing a song. Do a dance right as I was coming in. Are you going to do a little dance? So, it's very difficult. It's kind of challenging to fulfill all these requests. So, Joyce had a good introduction because I warned Doc earlier in the week that if I looked out in the crowd and I saw things weren't going well, I was just going to trash the speech, hit the panic button, pull out the Doc impression, and go from there. Of course, he responded. Matthew, I see you haven't learned any of the rich, charming manners of the South in the past 2 years. Why am I not surprised? But we're among friends, so hopefully I won't have to resort to the Doc impression today. If you remember last year at the opening retreat for ACE 9, John Schoening kind of posed this very poignant question, just asking, what are you into? What are the things you are really into as a person? And among several of the things, I had to think, one of them for me was stories. I love listening, I love telling, stories. And I mean, I've lived with Storytelling Jim for the past 2 years, so it's like encompassed my life, these stories. It's everything I've... And if you've noticed this weekend, I mean, there's always pockets at these receptions. There's pockets of people telling stories that have really defined their experience in ACE. But I think they're much more than just ways of entertainment when friends gather. It's something, ultimately, I believe, that is the essence of teaching. Because if you think about it, when we arrived 2 summers ago, we learned to tell great stories. For some of us, it was the story of cultures, relationships, themes of friendship in social studies, literature, or foreign language. For others, it was the awesome perspective of math and science. And for all of us, it was learning to tell the story for our students of God's grace and love through each other. And so with this kind of 2 months of preparation, a few unit plans in hand, some doc simulations under my belt, and 2 months of practicum teaching, I headed down to Birmingham, Alabama, ready to share the story, not just of math and science, but kind of who I was and what I believed. So loaded up the Mercury Sable for the 10-hour drive and went down to Birmingham. And on the way, I couldn't help but kind of daydream what my class might be like. And my daydreams naively consisted of this classroom with motivated students, engaged in labs, vehemently discussing conclusions, and as I just kind of sat back and stepped them off along the way. And in my ignorance, my imaginary classroom contained students based on my own high school experience. 2,000 students, an enormous campus, 95% Caucasian, middle to upper class demographics, much closer, I think, to Dead Poet Society than Stand and Deliver. But this image was kind of rattled when I pulled up to the 12-room red brick rectangular building, maybe a tenth of the size of my high school at Holy Family. And so slightly surprised, but still holding on to this image that I had, I entered the library for the first faculty meeting and morning of retreat. I couldn't have been any more different than the 60, 65-year-old African-American, Baptist, all-female faculty sitting around the oak tables in the library that morning. Like, what could I do? I just grabbed a few Krispy Kremes, started introducing myself, and sat down for the in-service. So, well, the speaker, Mrs. Bell, she was great. She spoke with great eloquence and fire. And one thing, hailing from Warsaw, as Joyce said, it's very kind of, I'm not used to this wonderful active listening or participation in large groups. And so as the speaker was talking, around me I heard, yeah, amen, yeah, all right. Just kind of, they were all fired up, and so as time passed, I tried to focus less on that and listen to the speaker's words. And I realized why they were so heartily engaged, why they were so active in listening, because Mrs. Bell spoke of this wonderful mission as Catholic school teachers, that we have made the choice not to just instruct, but to continue with God's creation. So as the day went on, I kind of got into it, a little nodding of the head, and her pitch kind of rose higher and higher, and her pace quickened down the aisles. And then I heard her explain something which I really agreed with, and so I just unconsciously let out this barely audible, amen. Amen. And then there was, whether it was intentional or not, there was like a pause. It was like an old Western. I was waiting for the airy whistle and the tumbleweed to blow through, and I got kind of flushed. I was like, oh boy, did I offend anyone or something? And then Miss Tony, very grandmotherly woman, the type that children kind of, hug and they're always just kind of holding on to, leaned forward to me and said, about time you said something. So this exchange, it not only settled my fears and really helped me join this community, but more importantly, radically changed my perspective. I realized this experience wasn't me coming to Birmingham to tell my story, but rather to be part of a larger interwoven narrative with the teachers, the community, and most especially my students, playing at different times the role of the storyteller. So whether it was the vibrant Latin culture of Mother of Sorrows in LA, the rich Native American tradition at Santa Cruz and Tucson, or the warm, welcoming culture of the South at St. Jude's in Montgomery, this story was played out in its own unique way throughout all of our different sites. And for many of us, the story went beyond our content. Hours were spent coaching, tutoring, leading retreats, directing plays. We assumed common responsibilities like recess duty, lunch duty, and some uncommon responsibilities like I did at Holy Family High School when I was part of the Holy Family High School bomb squad. It's February of our first year, and it's right at the beginning of fourth period, and the assistant principal comes over the intercom announcing that we're going to have a fire drill. Now, it was kind of odd because, for a few reasons. Usually you don't announce the fire drill. Two, it was February, and I think this was the second monthly fire drill that we had, so we had missed a few in between, so that was kind of odd. And then there's always this thing, we don't have a sprinkler system or fire extinguishers or a bell system in our school, so there's just this handbell that you pull a chain, and this mechanical bell kind of resonates through the school. If it was a real fire, I'd really feel sorry for our assistant principal, because he's just there pulling this chain, you know? So the bell's kind of going off, and the students are exiting, and he pulls me aside and he says, "We've received an anonymous tip. There's a bomb in the building. So I'll take the bottom floor, you take the top floor." You know, I tried to stay calm, and like the adrenaline's rushing, so I rush upstairs and I get to the top and I just stop. I have no clue what a bomb looks like. My only experience is like the Wile E. Coyote, the big, clock with the dynamite, Acme bomb, tick, tick, What am I looking for? But nonetheless, I open a few lockers, and I go first into the back of the chemistry lab, where an ACE teacher, it was her room, Pauline, who I lived with, and she was kind of the master of bell work. Every day, she would set the old kitchen timer for about 6 minutes, and the students knew they had to have their papers in before the bell rang, or she just wouldn't accept it because she stapled it, and that's how it was. So I'm looking in the back of the chemistry lab under beakers and like the ledges and things, and I get to the front of the room, and all I hear is tick, tick, tick. I'm pretty sure I said a rosary on the jump up and on the way down. There actually is a point to this story. If you had asked me 2.5 years ago when I was pre-med, taking the MCAT and applying for medical school, how I thought I might die, I think that looking for a bomb in a chemistry classroom in Birmingham, Alabama would not have been my first response, And I think this experience shows that although we believed in maybe high school or college or for ACE South Bend in marriage with your family, or even in ACE that we knew the characters, that we knew the plot, that we knew the ending, it's not our story to tell. It's shaped by our own openness to listen to the story and the songs of others. And it's told by the students that have filled us, by the creed that we've shouldered, our passion for teaching and learning and loving in Catholic schools. And these experiences that our community, our students, that we hold, they're now intricately woven in the lives we now lead. For many of us, class discussions, First Communion preparation, basketball practice, and even discipline problems have changed the ending to those stories. And so I think as we go forth in graduation today, we make a choice. We make a choice without the perks and the wonderful enticements of a free master's degree and the safety net of ACE, the input of professors, staff, and friends. We must choose to stay involved and serve in Catholic education, regardless of our future occupation. Why is it so important? Well, you all have your own stories. But whether it means to serve in different ethnic or under-resourced populations, or maybe some academic college preparatory institution, there's a wonderful common theme throughout Catholic education's own unique story. The call to extend the Christian community from the family to the classroom is essential to the growth of our students. And so as I kind of think about my own students, Shannon and Jeremy and Sparkle, and I love Sparkle, she's my favorite, and my 6-year-old nephew John and my niece Laura, I know that the characters in this story are too important for us not to be involved. And so, as Miss Tony might say, I think it's about time we go out and tell our story.